Let me tell you why you're here. You're here because you know something. What you know you can't explain, but you feel it. You felt it your entire life.
Cheers, mate. It doesn't matter. I can't find the original post. Are we going to cut that out?
No, no, I'll cut it out. I've got a tendency to just announce the pod when he's not ready, and
never ready.
No, I like surprising him. But anyway, I won't do that now. Hats.
Brendo, how are you, mate?
Hang on, I'm going to go again because that was too much of a too close to what I was saying.
What do you mean?
Hats.
I have not a clue what you're talking about. It's too close to one. Anyway. Brendo, how are you, man?
I'm good, mate. How are you?
I'm okay.
What's going
on? We have another guest. We have another guest. We tend to do you and I just one week, and then we have a guest the other week if we can grab somebody. And tonight.
Before we start, I got COVID.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, I'm part of the crowd.
Yes, but I had it last week, so I can't catch it from you. Sorry.
No, exactly. Well, it's definitely been a week, and I've definitely tested negative since we've now joined each other in the the dungeon. That's for sure.
Yeah, we're complying with all regulations.
Yeah, so I might not be as sharp as I normally am, but
can we introduce our guest?
Yeah, we better. Who have we got?
We have Albert. Albert is from I don't think I can say this, from Germany, and he had a tweet recently which piqued my interest. Albert, do you want to say hello and to anybody that's listening and explain what the tweet was and what's going to be happening?
Yeah, hi guys, thanks again for the invite. Yeah, I'm German, as you can hear probably from my accent. I'm from Berlin, the capital, and the other day I started a Twitter account talking a little bit about the project I'm following and the project I'm working on at the moment, which is making Europe's first Bitcoin hostel.
Okay, so that's not going to be in Berlin. Am I right in saying is it going to be in Portugal? Is that the idea?
It's not going to be in Berlin. It's going to be in the south of Portugal, where the weather is good and the people are nice and the food is fresh and the taxes are low.
Yeah, and the surfing is good. I don't know if you're a surfer at all.
The surfing is amazing, yeah.
Yeah, and I've been to...
It's one of the most popular surf beaches in the world, I would say. The biggest waves you can find over there.
Massive, absolutely massive.
I'm not able to surf like 30-meter high waves.
No, I wouldn't recommend that to anyone.
Nice to go.
You surf that? You're a surfer?
I do surf a little bit, but I wouldn't consider myself like a professional or something. So it's a hobby when I'm overseas, and it's just something I like. I guess in Australia
we'll get to the hostel. But let's maybe just dig back on your own personal story if we can. How did you get involved with Bitcoin to begin with? How long have you been involved, and what has led you to this idea? And then we'll get into that if that's okay.
Yeah, sure. So I got involved. Actually, I got interested in Bitcoin many years ago. I don't remember precisely the year because I didn't do much. Like I got first in contact with it a little bit, maybe in school, about 9 years ago, I would say. But I didn't buy anything, and I didn't dream and think about it every day from then. I think the moment I started would be like in 2016 or 2017 when I was like really getting into it, falling down the rabbit hole and reading, watching videos, and basically never stopped thinking about it after that. So this was really a big part of my life for many, many years now. And I'm in it because I think this is the best way and the most promising way to help us with a lot of problems we have at the moment, which are probably centralization of our monetary systems and overconsumption, and government is just having too much influence on all the things of our lives, and they should just get out of our personal lives. And you can argue if they if they should do a little bit like securing countries or having a police, but I would say that probably there is also better solutions to do that, but definitely they should get rid of their power in euro or in dollars or whatever, which is, they're not going to do, but we can build something, some alternative and a peaceful revolution, so people will get out of the system in a peaceful way. And I guess Bitcoin gives a lot of people the opportunity to do so. And then apart from Bitcoin, I studied something which is architecture, so I know how to build houses, and I've worked in the field for now 4 years. It's a fiat job, so I do it 9 to 5. Unfortunately, 5 is less often, and I was like more 7 or 8 in the evening, so I do a lot of overtime, non-paid. And now with COVID, obviously, this gives me the last push to say what the fuck is happening in this world. So we not just fucking do our fiat job. Sometimes I wonder why I go to work and follow some like stupid rules of the government and follow some, I don't know, formulas to sign and to, I mean, it's just super inefficient and not that fulfilling to do. Also, I'm not vaccinated, so in Germany you cannot do shit. I had to stay home most of the time while my friends went out partying, and then told me hangover that it's my fault that COVID is spreading. So this is kind of depressing me, and it's like something I definitely don't support, and I don't want to be miserable at home and or when I see people complain about the situation. I want to use my talent and build something positive. I want to show that there's a purpose of life, like seeing faces, partying with people, having nice conversation, working on stuff that is important and meaningful, and eating food that is not processed but fresh and made in the gardens by the people that eat it. Or, I mean, there's so many things that I would like to do, and I guess traveling has always been a big hobby for me as well. And building a Bitcoin hostel probably is combining all of this interests I have. And I guess now that I went on Twitter, I could never imagine it. I got the account like 2-3 weeks ago, and I got more than 1,000 followers, and I got shitloads of private messages from people telling me, yeah, I want to work there. What is the state here? Your website looks cool. Can I do some corrections on grammar and spelling? Other people that just said, well, you're inspiring, and I had a similar idea and I want to do that, and it's like super positive and super amazing. And I want to say thank you for all this great support. I would never imagine to have such a big crowd to support me in this.
It's amazing to watch things blow up, particularly on any social media, just for not so much for big accounts, but smaller accounts that just kind of start, and one thing just blows up for them, and it just goes, the virality of it. And then to see something so positive as you're talking about, and then all the positivity you get out of it. I mean, Bitcoiners get a lot of criticism for being toxic, and the Bitcoin maxis and toxicity. But when you see the positivity that comes out of people, when people just put something out there, and like either asking a question or proposing an idea or making a suggestion in a not in a I'm here to fix it sort of a way, just in a here's my idea sort of a way, and then everybody just flocks to it because they want to support. It's really exciting. So it must have been quite kind of overwhelming to have that so quickly, was it not? Have you ever had anything like that before?
It's really overwhelming, and I would have never expected it. Actually, I'm still working on my job, and I have to finish the project because I have a contract and I'm gonna finish it. And this project will still go till the end of the year. And I thought, well, let's in this time I should always already keep people informed about our plans, like finding ideas where to go. So I'm really prepared after I quit my job to like immediately go and start the project. So I thought I need a lot of time. And when I started posting things, I was like, what the fuck? It's like in the beginning, no one answered to this announcement that I'm gonna work on this, and like an
Oh,
hour
really? So
passed.
what caused it? What was the spark?
I don't like I did this announcement tweet, and then nothing happened. It's like one like, and then another like half an hour later, and then I guess probably the right people retweeted it,
Yeah.
and at some point my phone was like zzz, 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 zzz. It never stopped, and I like had to find the settings to fucking get rid of the sound, and like I was still in office. I was like zzz, talking to my boss, and I heard my phone in my pocket like zzz, zzz. It was like it never stopped to the evening, and then later on, I saw is like I got on Twitter you can see how many people have interacted with this tweet and how many people saw it, and I got like 120,000 impressions. It's
Wow.
like this is like that's a fucking city.
Yeah, I mean that's so
And
I
I mean,
please go on.
let me repeat. I got the accounts 2 3 weeks ago.
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
got them mid March. It's like ridiculous.
What did
Yeah.
Princey say when we had Princey on? He's like we're really grateful that he sort of came on and helped us. He's like plebs stand strong or plebs
Yeah.
help plebs or something like that. So yeah,
I mean,
and
that's
it's absolutely true.
totally. It's a strange thing. I've only had one experience like that. I've been on Twitter for a long time, but my Bitcoin only account has only been a couple of years or something. Um, and So I woke up one morning and Jack Dorsey had tweeted something, and I responded along with another 100,000 people who were responding something about Jack Mallers, saying you should be speaking to Jack. This is going back how long? Like maybe a year and a
18
half or
months,
something.
yeah,
Like
probably.
you should be speaking to Jack Mallers. And Dorsey responded to me, "Oh, I love what Jack Mallers is doing." This is before everything's happened with strike and everything. And but so basically my tweet, I just woke up, I was half asleep. I tweeted this, I went for a shower, and I came back and my phone was doing what your phone was doing. And I was like, what the hell is wrong with my phone? Like it never happens to me, right? So and I picked up, and that's exactly, but it's just the power of somebody with a big following.
Yeah.
Both positive and negative. Somebody could have, there'll be people out there with big followings that you don't fully agree with what they're doing, but it's crazy when you see it happen.
Yeah.
But so let's talk about you work for a company. You're an architect. You work for a company, and you work on projects just now, and you're unvaccinated. And how has that been for the last couple of years? Have you been able to go to an office, or you've only could work from home, or they were quite happy to have you continue to work, or what's that been like?
So in like my architecture career was in 2 offices, and the first office I worked in for 2 years, and they were actually the boss was actually pretty against those vaccines and against like he said what the fuck is happening, just get sick. Like really early on he said, well, if hospitals are gonna get full, we should get COVID now before they get full.
Yeah.
And he was not taking it really serious, so a lot of employees got scared, and they kind of complained, and so we got some restrictions and something, some distance, and like, but we never did home office because he said, well, I'm paying you to work here.
Yeah.
If you don't work here, you can do that, but I'm not gonna pay you. Like you
Okay.
can quit, you can take your holidays, you can do whatever, but I'm paying you to work here. And if you don't do that, I cannot pay you. So he didn't do that, and there was actually also a law that said, well, all the offices they have to offer the possibility of doing home office if they can afford that or something like this. And he said, well, we cannot afford that.
Yeah.
So he followed the law, but there was yeah, but it was a really weird situation because that was like really in the beginning of COVID, and everyone was kind of scared and no one knew what is happening. So yeah, everyone was just kind of unsecure, and they didn't feel really feel protected by the boss, and yeah. So that was the first period. The second period now in another office is kind of the opposite. I can do a home office whenever I want.
Different company? Is it? Sorry, you're talking different company now? Yeah.
Different company, a whole lot of different projects. Before I was working for private investors, and it was super fast. Everything they've done was like done in like a week. In a week, they got like the plans ready to get the permits, and then obviously the permits took ages. But on our part, it was really fast. And now for this office I'm working at, it's we only have one project, and we're building a high rise in Bonn, in a smaller city in Berlin, in Germany. And yeah, this is a government building, and I'm talking all day long with like 7 different agencies, and like you got the permit from one agency, and you continue working on it for a couple of months, and then another agency comes to you and says, well, actually we don't like it, so everything the other agency said is nonsense. And this kind of gets a little bit depressing, and we're doing like weird stuff. Like in Germany, there's a law that we have to put photovoltaics on top of the roof.
Sorry, what was that?
Solar.
But we have to put a photovoltaic.
Oh, okay, sorry, solar. I didn't hear. Yep.
How do you say that?
Yeah.
Yeah, you know,
like
you're good. Brendo's just stupid.
Photovoltaic on top of the roofs. And unfortunately, we don't have enough space on the roofs, and it doesn't make sense to put it like on the north side of the building because it's always shaded. So we said, let's put it on the facade. The government said, well, okay, let's put it on the facade. It continued for various months, and then they changed their mind. And now we are actually planning photovoltaics on the roofs, which are shaded 100% of the time. Like there will never ever be sun ever.
Oh my
And but by law this is fine, so we're going to do that this way. So it's kind of depressing in that sense, which is just, I mean, it doesn't have any relationship with COVID, but it just shows how governments often work. And when it comes to COVID, unfortunately, in Germany, it's also like this, that a lot of, actually, I don't feel that much the pressure from the government. I feel it more from society, from like families, friends, colleagues. Also my boss now, he says, he said to me, well, get vaccinated. And that is kind of a hard thing to say to people that work for you, because obviously you think about it, and yeah, it's
So how has that affected your relationships currently? Like, have you had kind of massive falling outs at all with family or friends? Or
yeah, well, for example, at work they did a Christmas party, and I wasn't like invited. I told them, well, I'm not vaccinated, and they said, well, it's your decision. We're still gonna go to restaurants. And that kind of sucked. And then also friends were like saying that, well, I'm not gonna meet you because you're not vaccinated, and I don't feel safe, and you should do it. People are dying because of you, and like putting me into like a weird angle where like kind of a racist or something, which is like completely the opposite what I'm thinking. But
you know, the guy who you started this by saying, I really enjoy going traveling and seeing the world and things, and you know, going other places, and now you have people trying to class you as a racist. Like, this is crazy.
Yeah, I mean, there's people that never left Germany, and they're telling me I'm racist. Like I have an Italian girlfriend that I met in Indonesia. It's like, what the fuck? I lived in Africa for half a year.
Yeah,
and it's completely nonsense. But yeah, and I felt that was like a psychedelic. That was like on my mind. That was kind of getting heavy on me. Fortunately, my girlfriend is also not vaccinated, so we at least have each other. And I never stayed home alone. I stayed home with her, but it's still kind of like it's putting you a lot of pressure and a lot of fights also then between each other. So it's something that is it has been tough, and I tended to complain about this whole situation. So obviously I was also putting myself further away from other people mentally, and now I thought, what the fuck? It's not helping at all. I should just build something that's positive. I should make something that I think it's good instead of complaining. And I think there's so much positivity in the world, and if you come out with a positive attitude, you also meet more positive people. And I'm actually like I like to talk, I like to interact with people. So also when I go on the streets, I just comment on something and I have like a conversation with a random person, and then we talk for like half an hour, and actually you realize, oh damn it, there's so many people that are thinking like me. And people also pretend that like most of the people are vaccinated in Germany, but actually it is most of the people, but 30% of the people still, after all those restrictions and still after all those punishments, they are still not vaccinated. I mean,
Wow.
that must mean something.
Yeah, it definitely. I mean, Australia is like 95% double vaccinated, I think.
Yeah, or at least New South Wales. I don't know about
Yeah,
the whole
no,
country, but yeah,
it's
it's up there.
but obviously the restrictions were pretty heavy in some places for a long time. It's well, it's going to be very interesting because my point, not to make this a vaccine show particularly, but my point on that was at some point everybody's going to have had enough. Like if you've got two, you got three, you went for your fourth booster. At what point everybody's going to have a line that's like, okay, that's enough for me.
Yeah.
And do they at that point do they become an anti-vaxxer?
Yeah, probably.
Like-
they'll be painted as such.
But the group of people shouting anti-vaxxer, is getting smaller as that happens, right?
Yeah.
So everybody's going to be in the same boat eventually, and people are digging themselves a hole, and it's really sad to watch, families fracture, friendships fracture, relationships fracture because of this.
It's not right. It's not right at all.
No, if it was the case, I mean, if it was the case where if you got a vaccination, you were not spreading it to other people, sure, there would be maybe a bit of a more of an argument, but that's not the case. It's quite well proven that that's not the case now, right? People are getting it, vaccinated people are getting it. So if people choose to do it, go get it. Go get the vaccine if you want to get the vaccine. But don't make that judgment for somebody else.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Just let people be. And we don't do it for anything else.
My body, my choice.
Exactly.
Absolutely right. Absolutely right. So let's go to the positive. So, well, firstly, how are things changing in Germany in terms of public opinion? Are you seeing that shift in that direction as well? Because we're certainly seeing it here. People are feeling a bit more able to say that now, I think.
Yes.
Yeah, definitely. Now with Omicron, actually yesterday, most of the restrictions got taken away. So actually there's no mask mandates in most of the places anymore. And you can do basically what you could do before COVID. But obviously there are still a lot of people wearing masks, obviously still a lot of people thinking that you should get vaccinated. And actually the other day I still had a conversation with a very good friend of mine who also put a lot of pressure on me, and I got COVID as well, and he got COVID. He had it before as well, and he has like 3 shots, and his girlfriend also has like all the shots you can get. And they went to different places to party, and he got it in that club. His girlfriend got it in a different club, and I'm like, so what did it help you? Like you're telling me for months and months and months that I am like the reason why COVID is spreading so much, and at the same time you go out partying with thousands of people and also get COVID, obviously, because I mean everyone can get it at some point. So yeah, that is kind of showing that maybe it is not helping that much, and actually people are understanding that everyone should do their own decisions. And now I believe that the restrictions also fall. People are accepting a little bit more that there are different opinions and they should also be accepted. And I mean, I don't want to be dramatic, but Germany does not have a good history of like leaders telling the population what to do, and it's really important in every country, but especially in Germany, to not always just follow what the establishment tells you to do.
Yeah. So let's move to the positive side of it. Has some of that negativity and the negativity that surrounded you led you to different groups of people, friendships or whatever, and that's what's now leading to your idea? Is that what, like, firstly, who is it that the idea is? It's you and your girlfriend, and is that right? Or
yeah,
and sorry, on you, please. Sorry, tell the story.
So the idea is well, actually, Valeria and I, we met in Indonesia, also traveling. So that is kind of like in the first moment we met, we already had this idea of like traveling is nice and traveling is amazing. And then we came to Berlin and we were like stuck over here. And then we thought, well, how can we change it? I mean, what can we do realistically instead of complaining? Can we do to change the situation? And we decided to actually, if we have friends that don't want to see us, I mean, fuck them. we just find other friends, and we actually have a lot of people that are also not vaccinated, or maybe that are vaccinated but they are also against it, and they're totally supportive of every decision, or well, not even supportive, but like accepting all sorts of different views. So this gave us a little bit of a strength to go out and to, well, actually do things. And so we found a lot of places where we could also go without being vaccinated. So there are bars where people ask you if you're vaccinated, and then you say no, and then they say, well, okay, so you should probably not put your name on this list and just get in. So this gives us a lot of positivity, and like we see that the world is still in parts okay, and the world is still like full of people that are positive and that accept each other and support each other, which is really nice. And we got inspired by those people, and thought, well, okay, let's take all the hobbies we have, combine them, and use our strengths to make something really, really cool. And for me, this is definitely the Bitcoin area. And I know how to do houses, I know how to build. Valeria is really good at interior designs, so she could do that more. And together we love to talk to people and travel and welcome the world in our little paradise.
So did the idea for this come before Bitcoin? Like, were you guys always planning on some kind of venture like this?
Well, I guess I got into Bitcoin before traveling, but
And what about your partner?
she actually is not the Bitcoin part. She's
Okay.
more the traveling part, and she likes Bitcoin as well, but she's more like trusting me. She says, well, like, I'm sure you
Whatever, Albert. Whatever.
things. I mean, she has some sets, but it's not like she talks about it all day. Sometimes she has like a price alert on her phone, and she's like, did you see the price go up? Did you see the price go down?
But I assume you've been following everything that's been happening over in Bitcoin Beach in El Salvador, right? You know,
yeah. They're super.
That's got to be pretty
do
inspiring.
something similar to that. I mean, they're going to a poorer area, let's say. They're going to something that is dominated by people that don't even have a bank account, and most have a phone. But I guess El Salvador is the perfect place to really introduce a circular Bitcoin standard, a circular Bitcoin economy. So I guess that what they are doing over there is really, really nice. We got inspired by them. But we think something like this should also be in Europe. I mean, many places have it in El Salvador and in Brazil, in Africa. There's lots of places where they use Bitcoin a lot. But in Europe, I think still a really long way to go. Mostly because people don't really need it at the moment that much. They can just use PayPal, or like there's shitloads of apps that you can use to send money instantly. But I guess now times are changing. People are also kind of realizing, fuck, gas prices are doubling. Fuck, buying a house is fucking doubling every couple of years. So inflation is a problem that a lot of people are actually talking about now, and that gives a lot of people like a little bit more of an open mind to say, well, actually, maybe it is good to have a money that you cannot simply print. And actually, also the other day happened something that made me really, really happy. My colleague that is not interested in finance or not interested in money at all asked me how to buy Bitcoin, because some family member of her died, and she had kids, and she said, well, I want to invest in the future of these kids. How do I buy Bitcoin? And I'm like, yeah, man, I've done my job.
Well, when somebody's coming to you, that's brilliant, right? That's because at that point you don't have to convince anymore. You're just having to be practical.
Yeah.
Yeah. That is super amazing. That was a great feeling. And obviously, I had to think to not talk too much. I just tried to keep it short, because otherwise, yesterday, for example, my sister asked me a little bit about like, why do you have minors or something, and I like started to have a monologue of like 45 minutes. And she's like, in the end, man, I just ask why there are transaction fees.
I wanted the 15-second answer.
Yeah, so I got to get better at that.
Yeah, it's very difficult to, when you finally get the end, to pull back and just let a little bit of information, let them come back to you.
Yeah,
very, very difficult, because you've been so desperate for it for such a long time. When you finally get it, it's
like a waterfall.
yeah. It's when I first sat down with Brendo, to be fair, he took it well, and he said, but you wanted to know, you'd actually said, you actually did want to know, but we went down the pub, and it's like, right, okay, I'm going to have to talk about the history.
Well, it was a lunch at the cafe, actually.
Was it not? Where was it?
No, we went to, I don't want to say it, we went to the one next to the pub for lunch.
Oh, okay, then fair enough.
But that was a long conversation, but it was great.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Good point.
Very eye-opening.
But I'm curious, how did you get into Bitcoin?
Who?
And when?
Me?
Like both of you.
So you want me to go first, because it
Yes,
doesn't make sense. So I so I'm Scottish, but living in Australia. So work situation changed, life situation changed massively back in 2013 when we moved here. So I was just ready for a change, basically. But and then it probably was a few years later, and I'm still probably scrambling around for what I wanted to do with my life, and I was investing in. I like sort of what I consider to be sort of high risk and that sort of end of the spectrum anyway. And I had some money, and I was investing in little things all over the place. And there was a business who was accepting Bitcoin as the means of funding. It was like a online advertising type business. So I quite liked it. It's still around today, but I'm not here to promote it. But so I bought some Bitcoin in order to put money there. But I was using it. That was the first thing I did, was use it as a currency to spend. I mean, that's painful now to look back at it and realize how much I spent. But yeah, so that was that. And then fast forward.
What year was that?
That would have been, how long ago did you say?
No, what year?
What year was it?
I'm thinking probably 14, 15, maybe 15. Probably 15, because, and then.
No, I was asking which okay, sorry. No.
Sorry, 2015. Yeah, is that what you mean?
Yeah. Sorry, I was like, that is 500 years ago.
Oh yeah. But and then so that, put that story to the side. But then I watched it run up, and then I watched it come back, and it wasn't really so. I was paying attention, but it's not like I had so much money in it. Just because I'd bought some, I was sort of paying attention. And then it was really not until after the run up in 17 and the fallback in 18 that I really started digging. So, but then I had also been watching. I watched a lot of Kaiser Report for years. years and years back when they were still living, I think, in the UK, maybe even on BBC Two or something, back when they were considered sort of semi mainstream, I guess, in some ways. And then they were slowly kicked onto more and more. Max and Stacey kicked onto more and more kind of obscure channels, I guess, and then they eventually became entirely out on their own. But yeah, so post banking crisis is all that. Anyway, so I started studying 18, really dug in deep in 18, and just have never left since 2018. So, but then.
Well, my thing was like, I mean, like everyone's heard about it and talked about it. I still remember years ago, at my work, a mother coming in and telling me that her son was mining Bitcoin. And I don't know what year it was, but I reckon it was like 13, 14 or something stupid. I'm like, oh, okay, I've heard about this Bitcoin. That was it. And hadn't thought much about it. And then Hats came into my life. We have daughters, same age, so they go to school together. Anyway, so, you know, we met over the time, and he started talking about Bitcoin. And then I kind of quickly realized that he couldn't not talk about Bitcoin, and he had to
exactly feeling you just had.
And he had to try really, really hard to not talk about it.
And my wife would come and punch me in the side of the head.
Yeah, the wife would be like, she'd almost kind of pre-introduce him, like, just he's gonna go on about this. I'm like, okay,
I'm sorry,
cool. Yeah, but because I'd heard about it, I was genuinely interested. But I don't know what it was. But for whatever reason, I messaged him and said, all right, tell me about this.
So yeah, because we'd had one conversation at a kids' party back in maybe 18 or something like that.
I remember at the sports stadium actually as well.
Okay, I don't remember that. Yep. And then but then it was then you came to me back in whatever it would have been, probably late 19 or something.
Oh no, you know what it was that initiated it? My dad got one of those scam emails, and I had a voicemail on my phone saying, Brendo, he doesn't call me Brendo, but anyway, I'm very, very interested in this Bitcoin thing.
I'm going to buy some XRP.
Yeah, I'm very, very interested. And he saw, these television personalities in Australia, like a fully doctored email where it's like Channel 10 and this and blah, blah. I'm like, Dad, that's a scam. But if you're interested, let's look into it. And so then, yeah, anyway, there you go. And now I'm
he's a Bitcoiner now as well.
Hey?
He's a Bitcoiner now as well?
No. He knows I am. He's just he's got some, but he's not that interested. So, but I know he's fine now. So,
but did you buy it for him?
Yes.
Right. Okay.
Yes,
and you bought it for him. You hold it for him. And if he ever needs it, same story.
Yes.
I got the same story.
Yes.
What about your family? Are any of your family you've brought them in or?
Probably. My brother, my big brother has it, and he's like super toxic.
I like him already.
Yeah.
So why Portugal? What's the connection with Portugal? Is it you just looking for the sunshine and the surf, or why Portugal? And have you found a plot of land? You've got a location and you've got a plot of land that you've in mind?
No, actually, now the plan is to. So we got a camper, and the plan is to go down there and explore the country and find the best location. And actually, yesterday I had another podcast with some Portuguese guys, and they knew the area already pretty well, and they could tell me, well, this place is good, this place is not that good. And so I guess that is really something that we need to connect with the people and to understand what's the Bitcoin scene over there, and what places have good qualities of life, and where's tourism good, and all this sorts of stuff. And they take time, and that's exactly why we're kind of trying to plan ahead and and then go really prepared to this adventure, and started with a lot of knowledge and a lot of background information, and Portugal for me personally is a really nice place because I don't know that well, but I love Lisbon, I love Porto, I've been to Eritrea, and it's just an amazing place because they have great food and great culture and lovely people, and I guess the weather is most of the time is really good. They have nice surf spots, so those are actually really good arguments to say, well, it is a place to have a good time. Also, it's really affordable, because especially in the southern part, the property prices are going really down, because the industry is like going down. They have no economy. People are moving away and dumping their houses for nothing.
Interesting. Didn't know that.
And so if you see the prices from Germany or even from Australia, I guess in Australia you can find cheap pieces of land in the outskirts. Right?
Yeah, it depends where you are. I mean, it's obviously it's a massive landmass, but it's incredibly expensive in the cities, and that
anywhere on the coast, really.
But particularly in the last 2 years, a lot of people have pushed out from the cities up and down the coast.
Well, that's the remote working kind of.
People. That's it. People working from home or whatever. So there's a lot of that, and people who just find it unaffordable in the cities now. So that has driven rentals and purchase prices up massively in the last 5 years, but certainly in the last 2. But we're probably, I mean, hard to say, but it does feel like we're somewhere at the expansion of the bubble at this point, because it's getting to the point where it's only incredibly wealthy people who are, have multiple homes that are now purchasing, and you can see just a change in the behavior in the market. So I and certainly in the cities, the prices are actually starting to come, or at least stabilize, if not maybe going to start to slow.
But even the rhetoric,
come down, sorry.
The rhetoric over the last few years has always been about how the young are priced out of the market, and they are, obviously, totally, and it's not getting any better. But I don't know that's that new an idea.
What's new? What's not a new idea?
As in houses being affordable. So
Oh yeah, I mean 10 years it's probably been that way. But it's like if you're a young person just finishing school or university or whatever you're doing and going into work, and you're thinking, well, maybe I can set aside X thousands to save towards my new home. Well, if you're setting aside, I don't know, if you're able to save $10,000 or something, but the house has gone up by $40,000 in that time, so you've actually gone backwards, right? So, or more than, it's quite possibly more than that. So, but it feels to me like and also interest rates are starting to rise. So there was a time, just probably 2020, where rates were below 2% for fixed rate mortgages, but now we're talking. Did you sit in there?
I got mine. I actually got an email because I've refinanced. We did a Renault refinance, and I got an email off my broker, like literally a month ago, going, "Looks like fixing your rate was a good idea, Brendan." Like, thank you. Yeah. Well, that doesn't count.
Yeah. Okay. So it's changing. You can see the behavior is starting to change. And it's not easy. A 5-year fixed rate mortgage now here would be about between maybe about 4.7, 4.8, something like that. Yeah.
Oh wow, that's
so and when all the prices are already inflated, obviously that 5% becomes quite significant to more than just your average person.
6 months ago that was 2.99. I'm sure.
Yeah, it could well be, but maybe not 5 year, but maybe.
Anyway,
but I actually don't see really how prices could go down, because that would mean that that people would would like to save money, would like to not spend it, but have it on their account rather than buy a property or buy stuff that's actually worth something. And I don't really see how this. I mean, sure, if interest rates go up, there could be a way, but at the moment, in at least in Europe, there's no way they could do it. Like the price, especially now with the Russia crisis, it's bad. Now the German government said, well, after COVID, they spend a lot of money on all those on helping out companies and private people, and now out of nowhere they said, well, we're going to spend 100 billion euro on the army. I was like, where's the money coming from?
Yeah, it's amazing. They can always find them. The money can always be found if it's wanted to be found, right?
Yeah.
You only need to question why that is. We can't afford to fix the road that you're driving down because it's an absolute disgrace, but we can afford to find 100 billion euros to give to the army because somebody decided.
Where does it come from? I guess a lot of people now realizing, well, that it's printed money. It's like it didn't exist. They just put it into circulation out of thin air. And but anyway, I guess the things that are helping are things of value that don't lose value that easy. And I would say there are a lot of options, and Bitcoin is obviously the best option. But having a piece of land close to the ocean probably is also a good idea. And yeah, since the prices in Portugal are really, really low at the moment, I mean, sometimes you can, if you're lucky, you find places that are for free. You pay €1 and you get it for free.
Wow.
And they tell you, well, you can do it. We'll give it to you for free, but you have to live there and you have to take care of it. And that's how we are earning like something, because
Yeah.
people are over here and spending money on groceries and stuff like this, and keeping houses renovated. But yeah, this would never happen in Germany. Like prices over here are super, super high.
Yeah.
Right. So what are the, I guess, the practical elements of the Bitcoin Hostel and your time frame? Like what's the plan?
So the plan. Well, let me just finish. Third option. The third reason. So the first one is the culture and the nature and stuff. The second reason is price, and the third reason is low taxation. Actually, in Portugal, you need to pay. There are ways to pay really low taxes, and sometimes even no taxes if you're a little bit clever. You can do it in a legal way. So yeah, that's why we want to go to Portugal. Now the plan is to finish up first my architecture project that I'm working on, and that's gonna happen, I guess, somewhere in the end of the year. I cannot say it's that precisely. I hope it's gonna be about September. Could be November, latest December, I would say. And then I wanna on the last day I wanna get drunk with people, and then the day after I'm gonna get the fuck out of Germany and go towards the sun. And so that's the time frame. In the meantime, I want to find out maybe a little bit more about regulations, because also often big pieces of land have also houses on it that are kind of old, and it's hard sometimes to get permits to not to renovate the house, that's easy, but to extend it as well and to like put a hostel on it. So I have to get to know more Portuguese people that could help me out with this. Maybe with this podcast, someone will come to me and give me support as well.
If there's anybody out there with any knowledge, reach out, definitely.
Yeah, and that is definitely something that in my experience, I have to calculate a lot of time to do that, because even in Germany, like to get a permit, that just takes ages, and also to find out, even in a language that I don't speak, that's going to be complicated. So I guess half a year, I definitely need to prepare all of that, and then the plan is actually to make it even from the start a real Bitcoin thing. So how I understand Bitcoin is that it's a grassroots movement coming from the people, coming not from top to bottom, but bottom top. So I'm going to buy the property myself, but the design of the hostel will be made maybe by the crowd, and I'm going to upload the DWGs, or the plans, or the measurements, and I'm gonna say how many rooms we need, like what sizes, how many bathrooms, how many how big everything should be, and what we need, and then I'm gonna start an architectural competition. So everyone from all over the world, people that are architects, people that are happy to design stuff, people that are just interested in traveling and have seen thousands of hostels, everyone can send us some proposals, and we're gonna find out which is the best. And on Twitter, I also said the one with the most design power will win.
No,
That's really cool.
that's a
Yeah,
great idea, actually.
as
Open source hostel.
That's it.
yeah, I mean, at the end, you definitely need one person that is really leading the construction site, and I'm gonna do that myself, and I'm gonna choose one design and then push it forward myself, and then build it also with my own hands, and Valeria is gonna hopefully do the best to help, and also other people will be doing will be able to help on the construction site. So it's a lot of people helping out, and I would say the more people give us their feedback, the more people give us their knowledge, the better place we can create. And the goal of the hostel is definitely to create really a hub for Bitcoiners to go, to travel to, but also for locals to just hang out. We're gonna have a bar. We're gonna have a nice place to just like connect with people. We're gonna have meeting rooms that people could rent and do their lessons on. And it's really something that is open to everyone, not just for travelers, but to all people in the area. And it should be a fun place, but it should be also a place where you can learn new things and get really into the Bitcoin rabbit hole by using it and by learning it and by having a great time, having a nice memory to remember and to spread the Bitcoin fire. And I guess a hostel is a really good place because you can have all sorts of open-minded people. My opinion is like that most of the travelers definitely, when they travel, they want to get some like knowledge about different places. They want to learn new stuff. I mean, in Berlin, for example, is full of people that went to Asia and now come back as Buddhists.
Oh.
And hopefully the world will come to this hostel and come back as Bitcoiners.
A Bitcoin Mecca.
And everything's going to be, you can pay in Bitcoin. You can, sorry, I'm just walking away. You can, the bar's going to be selling its beer in Bitcoin. You can stay paying for Bitcoin, I assume, or I should say Sats. It's going to be, it'll be tiny amounts of Sats at that point.
Yeah, definitely. And you can only pay in Bitcoin. I mean, because otherwise, if you don't say, well, you can decide it's Euro or Bitcoin, people are just gonna like in the beginning, you kind of have to push. And I guess learning by doing is the way to go, and then they'll see actually it's not a push, it's just something like actually it's easier than paying with Apple Pay. It's like scan the QR and that's it.
Yeah.
We need like a Bitcoin, like a Lonely Planet, a Bitcoin travel guide.
Well,
that'll come.
Everything will come. Everything you have currently, in whatever domain you're talking about, it's all going to come. But this is just, I love seeing people just push out into areas that are just like let's be honest, it's been about the cypherpunks, the engineers, the early adopters, which is great. We needed that, of course, we needed that, but it needs to push out into arts and sports and travel and everything. And just seeing people going off into, because there was a time, and even I remember it, whereas basically you could almost keep on top of almost everything that was going on. In fact, if anything, you were going looking for more, because there wasn't enough out there. Whereas now it's impossible.
Yeah.
Like just trying to keep on top of 10 podcasts or whatever it is you're listening to is almost impossible. So you have to pick your little things that you have to get to the point where you start to specialize into the things that you enjoy.
Yeah.
Right. And if that is travel or it's music or whatever it ends up being, that's great.
Do what you're good at.
Yeah. I mean, somebody, go busk, play the guitar on the side of the street and have a lightning wallet and just only accept tips from people. I mean,
so someone drops a coin,
throw it back. Leave it on the side of the street.
Nice. But actually, I think that's a good idea to have like a map of all the places that accept Bitcoin or that are like even pushing Bitcoin a little bit further. That's a good idea. Having a Lonely Planet.
Yeah. Well, there's another Bitcoin podcast here. From an exchange, Hardblock Exchange. They run the Australian Bitcoin podcast over here, and they've just created a list of, what's it called, satspend.com, I think. Just a list of businesses that are accepting Bitcoin, which is great. Just that's the start of it. But there's no reason why that can't be replicated everywhere.
Bitcoin travel,
yeah. I mean, if you could. You've probably now met enough Bitcoiners who go, well, that would be that guy, and that guy, that girl.
Yeah,
they could all do that, and they'd be great at it.
Yeah.
But it's just kind of connecting the dots and making the network work. And I think Portugal's pretty crypto in the inverted and where do you go? Is that what it is? Friendly anyway, isn't it? It's like from a tax perspective and a trading perspective, and
Portugal is a little bit of a tricky place because I mean they have had the experience of the financial crisis, and it's for them it was really hard to get money. For example, from the bank account in 2008, they like could just get like 50 euro from the bank account, and people are like, "What the fuck is happening? It's not my money if I cannot take it." So that was a really good opportunity that could have pushed the Bitcoin system forwards, but actually it was not known that. I mean, in 2008, 2009, like it's kind of hard to yeah already have known Bitcoin. Um, so I guess yeah, it's a I don't know friendly enemy. I don't know how do you mean that?
Oh, just I thought that there are regions that are more like what would I say, less regulation in the way of crypto or Bitcoin expanding. And I thought I was under the impression that Portugal was one of them. I don't have any first-hand
I think
experience.
it's been flagged as potentially a state, a nation state that'll adopt it.
Yeah, and like you see that you know I don't know you pick up was it Dubai recently, where I think one of the big crypto exchanges moving its operations from Singapore to Dubai because Dubai are saying, you know, no tax over here. We want the stimulus in that sense. Like much of like the way that you were saying before, it's like, yeah, okay, we'll give you the land for free, but we want you to come and spend your money. It's the same thing. It's on a bigger scale. So, and there are countries obviously that are making, like El Salvador probably being the most obvious one, but I think kind of Portugal, Dubai, Singapore.
Singapore, I thought too was.
But yeah.
I mean, the problem with the Bitcoin regulations is that in Europe they change a lot. They change from day to day. Sometimes like it gets illegal, then the next day it gets actually legal, and then some countries support it and then take their support back, and they vote for another government, and then they change it again. So it's kind of a mess still. I would say that like the taxes on euros are still a little bit more something that is kind of more persistent, and I would say that is something we could count on a little bit more. But yeah, we'll see how it evolves. I guess building a Bitcoin business in countries help to understand to make politicians also understand that it is not something that is like a bubble or something that is like anti politicians or anti like or it's a fraud or something, but it's actually something that gives value to people. And the more of those business we have, and the more dependent politicians also get on the votes of those people voting for them. So yeah, I guess we have to go a little bit more on the offensive and yeah, kind of build things none of the less that you might fear that there will be some going against you.
I'm kind
I
of
wouldn't say Portugal is like a Bitcoin heaven. I wouldn't say that.
Yeah, no, we sort of. I think we have to build it everywhere, I guess. I mean, I'm a sort of caught between should we be engaging at all with governments to try and make regulation more welcoming to encouraging innovation, or should we just be building separately and letting people come to us? I mean, because the second option is kind of what Uber did. That's why Uber, managed to get the foothold in the market. It just kind of gave two fingers to governments everywhere, and eventually the people wanted Uber, so Uber is there, and so the people powered it in the end. So, and I think that's the way. Personally, I think that's the way for somebody who used to work in government. And for you who's working, for government, I suppose as a client, you can see the bureaucracy is horrific.
It is.
And it just nothing ever gets done, and nobody ever wants to take responsibility, and nobody ever it's all sort of the slopey shoulders. That wasn't me, or it has to be passed on to him or her.
It's all risk aversion.
Yeah, and nothing ever happens.
Yeah.
I mean the most I don't know. Probably you also follow Elon Musk from Tesla. Wow. He actually built a fucking huge factory in Berlin, or next to Berlin, in like no time. It took like a year from from starting the project to finish, it took like I'm not sure, maybe a year and a half or something, but it was ridiculously fast. And the way he done it is he just he just bought the land and started to build.
Yeah.
He didn't have any permits, and he said, "Well, fuck it, I'm just gonna build." And he had like pre-permits, but he didn't have the permit to build. And he said, "Well, if it's there, it's pretty hard for you to say that I have to take it away."
Yeah.
So he just continued, and then in the end, he like it was already finished, and then after it was finished, he got the permit to build, and now it's illegal.
So what was that? A battery factory, or what is that? Is that what?
No, that's they do cars.
Oh, it's a
they
car
also-
manufacturer. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. I think the battery factory is coming still.
Yeah.
No,
Okay.
it's cars.
Yeah, and it's the same as look in China when COVID kicked off and they built a hospital in 4 days or whatever it was. I mean, I'm not. Yeah, there is some benefits to that. Like, I'm not. You're not sitting here saying, "Oh, everything that's done correctly in China," but if we just we just need to progress.
Child labor. Yes.
Yeah. But there's a middle ground. You know what I mean? We've just got so far towards the bureaucracy.
Oh yeah.
All
Oh,
this,
undoubtedly.
Don't ask, just do.
Yeah, I mean, I used to be involved in public procurement, so big projects, big government projects, but some companies had worked out that if they managed to tick off all the additional boxes that we wanted to tick them off, and that might have been, I don't know, something that was completely unrelated to the project, but it was something that we wanted to do. It might have been apprenticeships, or it might have been opportunities for disabled people, or whatever. Not all of these things are good things, but if they're taking away from the actual thing that you're trying to achieve, like they're not, or at least they're not related to the thing that you're trying to achieve, you don't actually progress with the thing you're trying to achieve. Anyway,
I mean, now also we got a lot of refugees now from Ukraine, and there was like private individuals in the millions that just welcomed them and built websites and organized apps and like helped out those refugees, and it got done in like weeks. It was like super fast.
Yeah.
Or actually days. It was super fast, and the government is just in the way because
they're in the way. Absolutely right.
They're like working in their slow offices, doing their little hours as possible, but trying to give people like permits to live, permits to work, and I'm like, what is the purpose of the government? Why do you
dreaming up new taxes? I think is the general answer. Dreaming up some other form of tax.
Why do you have to give me a permit? I mean, I'm a human being. I am already in the country. I like sometimes people have a job and have an apartment already, but the government says, well, actually it's illegal, so yeah, you should go back to your country, or I don't know. Sometimes they struggle to find a job because they don't have, because the companies that get into trouble if they give people that don't have a permit a job. So it's harder maybe for others to find a job. So I'm thinking like, what's the purpose of the government in this case? It's like they're just making things complicated. And I guess if I thought maybe you could change the government, but actually we should just build our own world and show people, especially maybe not even that much the government, but mostly people, that there is an alternative way to live a good life.
Yeah, build it and let them come to you, which sounds exactly like what a hostel in Portugal is.
Yes.
Right. That's it. That's what it is. What it is. So your time scale is you got your contract. You sort of work till the end of the year. Then you're going to jump in the van and you're just going to head south. And you're going to, by that stage, you want to have sort of found a place that you think you're going to, or you're just going to have a tour through and still be looking at a place, or like, what do you want from people? If people could support you just now, or are you going to document the journey on the way through, or what's the plan? What's the plan?
Yeah, I'm gonna also make an Instagram account.
Yeah.
I'm gonna post photos. I'm gonna tell people, well, I'm looking at this place, I'm looking at that place, and I'm also looking for recommendations of other people telling me, well, actually this area is better.
Yep.
and so they obviously have their in Portugal they obviously have various websites where they post properties, but mostly they have like shitty photos. If they have good photos, they are made by agencies, and obviously they charge more money. If they have shitty photos, you don't really understand what's the situation over there. How like is it worth buying it? So you have to be there definitely. And I guess if you want to have a good price, you should be able to buy immediately. So you cannot say, well, today I found a good property, I'm going to visit you in half a year.
Yeah.
So you have to be there and say, well, this is the money, have it, I buy it now. And that's why I also want to sort out the finance early on. I want to talk to banks to get a credit, to send my to spend my fucking shitcoin euro, and yeah. And I'm also looking for people to support me with Bitcoin. I'm gonna start a little crowdfunding campaign, and if everyone chips in like 10,000 sats or something, it's gonna help progress.
Definitely. Tallycoin might come in handy there.
Potential Doxjar recipient at the end of the year.
Yes, that's a good idea. There's a suggestion. Yeah, absolutely. Awesome. So I would like to, if you don't mind, because as somebody who did a bit of backpacking and traveling myself, I have got a few stories from hostels. What is the best story?
I've heard some of them too.
What's the funniest thing that happened to you in a hostel whilst traveling? Is there something that really springs to mind? I can go first if you like.
Go first.
Okay, so I traveled by myself. Met up with a lot of people, obviously, along the way. But I was in a hostel in, I think it was Glen Elg, which is south of Adelaide, in Australia. And so it was a 10-bed dorm, bunk beds, and my bed was the furthest away from the door on the top. Okay, just to kind of set the scene. And there was a bar attached to the hostel, and I was down drinking the bar because I was always down drinking the bar. And because I was by myself, I was usually late coming in. But I came into this room, pitch dark. The room's pitch dark, and there's clearly people having sex in the room. Okay, so there's 10 beds, so there's 9 people in there already, or maybe a bonus person, and everybody else is in the middle, very late, but everybody else is asleep apart from these 2 people that were going for it.
Was it the squeak that you know?
Yeah, the squeak straight away. It's the squeak. Yeah. And so I'm laughing, and I'm just sort of thinking, but they stopped immediately. I came in, they stopped, right? And so I sort of sneaked in, didn't say a word. I climbed up into my bed, which is the top bunk, and then about 25 seconds later, they started again, which was because obviously I was asleep at that point. But the best part of it was they were in the bottom bunk of my top bunk. So I was then rocking up at the top, and I literally was biting my arm so that I just wouldn't just kill myself laughing. It was just brilliant. It was hilarious.
No, not because you were wanking.
Oh yeah. So it was all hilarious.
I had the same situation, only that I was the guy downstairs.
I knew I recognized your face. I knew it.
Oh, that's probably a good spot to edit.
Yeah, why not? Why not? You got something? You got something that springs to mind?
I remember one thing was actually it was only comments on a hostel. There was so we haven't been there yet, but I was in Cambodia a couple of times. I think one time in 17, and then 2018 another time. And the first time I was there was it's a whole hippie community over there, next to what's it called, Sihanoukville. And do you know that?
Yeah, I've been there. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you know what's it called? Footprints Hostel.
Oh, I don't know. I'm a good bit older than you, mate. So I don't know if it was there back then. But anyway, go on.
But yeah, I mean, it's a really cool place too, and I really enjoyed it. And actually, so I went there one time with my sister. I went there another time with
Please tell me it wasn't your sister in the bottom bunk as well.
No. Different story. I was there a second time with friends, and then 2 years later, I came there with other friends for the third time, and I told them everything about this place, and like everyone is high and on drugs, and no one is giving a fuck, and the people working there, they're not able to do shit, and it's because they're fucking drunk and on coke or whatever, and yeah. And then at some point, my friend said, "Well, let's check out the comments. I mean, we want to see if it's really as good as you promised us." And before we arrived, they checked the comments, and it had like 2 stars. And in the comments, they said, "It's a horrible place. People seem to sleep all the time, and the owners don't even have blankets to give us. And at some point, someone was sleeping in my bed, and I didn't have a bed." And I'm like, "Yeah, man, that's the place I want to go."
That's it. Your best stories never started with this one time when I was being really sensible.
Yeah.
Your best story never starts like that.
Actually, our hostel are gonna have blankets.
Oh, there you go. It's gonna be flash. It's gonna be flash. I mean, well, I'll visit. I'll be definitely visiting when it gets off the ground. If you want to send people off to your Twitter, or wherever else, if you want to send them off to anything else, do you want to say that just now? If you
Yeah, sure. You can find me on Twitter. It's Bitcoin_hostel.
Yep.
And yeah, that's the only social media I have at the moment. But I'm posting there regularly, and you can follow all my shit. And I'm happy for all the messages people have sent me already. And you can also keep in touch with me and ask questions or give me advice.
We're
I'll send some
certainly
sets.
looking forward to seeing your journey anyway, mate. Well done.
Yeah.
definitely, we'll be following closely. Feel free to shout out if we can do anything to help.
Awesome. Thanks again for your support. It has been a pleasure talking to you on this podcast.
Yeah, you too, man. Thanks, mate.
Likewise, Albert.
Amazing.
Hey guys, if you've made it this far, thanks so much for listening. The plan with the pod is to do sort of guests one week and myself and Brendo the other week, so hopefully that's working for you. If you don't like one of them, just listen to the one you do like. If you want a little bit more information from us, you can find it at bitcoin-first.com/learn.